So our architecture panel is entitled Future Now, the Architectural Innovations Reshaping Practice. I certainly couldn't do this alone. And so let me introduce to you, and please give a warm welcome to the first of our panelists, David Yu, Director, Architecture, Lead 8. Lead 8 is an international design studio. Sit wherever you like, David. It's entirely up to you. Lead 8 is an international design studio with a team of over 200, working on projects in more than 105 cities around the world from their 7 design studios. David began his career in London over 20 years ago. Am I allowed to mention that?
Of course.
Developing his expertise in large-scale projects covering both design and management before relocating to Hong Kong, where he now leads talented teams from multiple sectors. David's philosophy is to bridge Eastern and Western design principles to achieve diverse and contextual designs. Over the last decade, he's focused his portfolio on large-scale retail-led developments in Asia and mixed-use developments in China as well. So, David, thank you so much for being with us.
Welcome. Thank you for having me.
Please welcome Mr. Rafael Acosta, Principal and Country Head for the Indian subcontinent for Aedas. The local and global architecture and design practice that is Aedas comprises well over 1,000 creative minds within 12 design studios across the globe. Rafael has over 25 years of experience covering more than 60 projects in 11 different countries. I hope no one's keeping tabs because they'll be competing against each other for how much they've done and how many countries they're in. These countries include Colombia, the USA, China, Pakistan, Singapore, and India. As the country head for South Asia, he now leads work in different typologies and is responsible for driving business growth by securing key commissions for the firm. His current active projects include several residential, commercial, hospitality, and mixed-use large-scale developments in Lahore, Islamabad, Delhi NCR, Bhopal, Mumbai, and Bangalore, to name but a few. David, I'm so sorry. Rafael, you're very welcome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Please welcome to the stage Nithita Fongtanakit, Associate Partner, Architect, Foster and Partners. Nithita joined Foster and Partners in 2015, is based in the Bangkok office. The Foster and Partners Bangkok office is in the city's central business district, the 10th floor of the Park Ventures building, overlooking a 142-acre park. It sounds amazing. The Bangkok team divides their time between the office and project sites and client meetings, as you would imagine. They do often socialize together, I'm told, outside of work, and volunteer at an elephant sanctuary, which rescues endangered animals from logging and tourism. Nithita is an architect with experience in design management and design lead. Her focus is on integrating design with local cultures and beliefs to bring character to the architecture that is welcoming to local people, and we'll hear more about that shortly. Thank you so much. And last but by no means least, please give a warm welcome to Billy Ip, Principal Global Leader Retail, Woods Bagot. Founded by Edward John Woods and Walter Bagot in Adelaide in 1869, today Woods Bagot boasts 16 studios and more than 900 designers, working across global time zones and borders, using technology to share design intelligence and strengthen knowledge. Billy began his career with Ogilvy and Mather in Melbourne. He developed his skills in branding and spatial design. He joined Woods Bagot in 2006. Is that right? My goodness.
That's right.
Today, he leads Woods Bagot's regional sector and is widely recognized in the field of design innovation for integrated, branded, and lifestyle environments, exploring future retail strategies to devise design solutions that delight and engage retailers, brands, and end users alike. Ladies and gentlemen, your panel. So, David, I'm going to start with you. Let's talk about innovation okay, good. In general terms. So, how do you approach, it's a very, very broad question, okay?
Yeah,
how do you approach innovation in architecture?
Well, innovation is something, if I have to tackle all the aspects, it would be like a whole day event. But so we are going to say something about...
What about 1.5 minutes?
Okay, I got that. So in our office, innovation is something we think about the experience of people. I know it's something everyone come across and experience, but we are actually call ourselves inside our architect, designer. We think about the journey through the building first, and then making sure the journey would be interesting enough. So in a way, in the recent years, we developed something called the fifth season. It sounds cool in a way, but actually it's something we try to bring the outdoor to the indoor, making sure the seamlessly experience of the nature would be experienced from the inside as well. So that's something we think it would be innovative in the way that people should be looking back and thinking about the willingness, and also especially after the pandemic, everyone's so aware of that. So I know a lot of architects making a lot of interesting form, but our innovation is from the inside and then becoming the outside of the facade.
Okay.
That's our take.
Thank you so much. Rafael, do you see that there's value in being ahead of the curve? Or is there merit in taking a more measured approach and learning from how new ideas have already performed in the market? What's your approach at Aedas?
Yeah, we always try to take a front approach. So we try to be at the forefront of design and technology, and we always want to be part of that development. So I think that is how we position ourselves, yes.
Okay, and I'm sure anybody who looked at your projects on your website will recognize that instantly. So thank you for that. Billy, innovation's always been very important, I know, to you personally. Woods Bagot itself was founded back in 1869 on the premise of designing for the future growth of cities and people. So how do you define innovation in architecture today? And do you feel that there are more possibilities out there, or are we just going to rework old ideas from now on?
I think, like, when we talk about innovation, I'm sure we would touch something like AI later. But actually, we don't see AI as an innovation. It's a part of it too. So I think what we've been focusing in the reason, in the past 10 years is about the relevancy, the locality, and also indigenous. I think that's something we actually really fancy about, really focus about. It's like really connect back to the people, what they want and what their origin is. So for project, we look at indigenous vegetation, so people feel like this is their place again, instead of just a global architect coming in with their thinking. It's like we responding to their land, responding to their needs. So I think that's what we actually feel we can call it as an innovation.
Okay, fantastic. Nithita, at Foster & Partners, we know innovation is at the heart of what Foster's does. So what assistance is available centrally in your design studio to support this in your work?
So basically, we try to bring the innovation, sustainability, and design together, and we learn, and by continuous learning from the past, and also respond to the futures. So in our center office, we have the team that help and support us. Like, for example, we have R&D, which is research and development, and specialist modeling, that group that could help when we wanted to do some complex geometry, like the facade or the roof. And then we work together to try to find a variety of the material, like the timber, steel, glass, to make it more like suitable. And I think with the technology that we have right now, it makes us to able to model the constraint, to test the design before it to be like construct on the site, and that help us to like solve all the problem, like and like give the idea on the design. We also develop like the program that could help in terms of like the sustainability and environment analysis to help for using in each country. And that is like one thing that we also develop as well. Like we have the spot, which is the the robot, like a dog robot that's more like that. And then he helped us to go inside the construction when we can't go, and then and that helped us to monitor everything on site.
When you said Spot, I thought it was a cute dog robot, but I understand exactly what it looks like now. Yeah, got it.
It's
I've got
cute,
it. Yeah. Thank you so much for that. David, you mentioned the idea of this fifth season, the cool fifth season, I think you referred to it as. And you describe, we've already heard you, do you describe your firm as inside-out architects? Can you give us, add a bit more to that? What does that mean in practice? Share a few examples of how that comes to life in your work.
Sure. Actually, around 10 years ago, we started a project in Chongqing called The Rain. Literally, we brought the forest into the retail. In a way, it's, the thinking behind that is actually we're not trying to take away the power of the retail, but we actually want to blend in the experience into the journey of the retail. But that is a very early stage of the fifth season. But nowadays, we're doing something more different. For example, the Central Yard in Hong Kong, just next to IFC. By the way, it's a competition we won. Internationally, no hard feeling, guys. That's something we are quite proud of that time. So basically, our scheme is a green bridge bridging from the central to the harbor, making sure the public space would be blended into the journey. Not only a commercial building, but also a commercial building with something meaningful to the people in Hong Kong. Especially Hong Kong is kind of like an image of cold building, but now we are going to have something to look forward to in the future. That's our take.
Fantastic. Rafael, we talked about innovation at Aedas, and as you adopt these new methodologies and technologies, how important is it that you communicate that process to the clients? I'm assuming that being very transparent about it does build confidence, or does it create uncertainty?
Yeah, that is a fine balance. So innovation, and as you guys are mentioning, AI has been the buzzword these days, and you have to be living under a rock if you don't know and are part of this process. So your question is how you communicate that to the clients, how you integrate AI into the process, and how you go about it. So our take is AI at the moment is very convincing. You see an image and you think is solid, but right now is probably very thin, doesn't have a lot of depth in the thinking process. So we use AI as a tool, as another team member that is very efficient and can create multiple options in very little time. But you are the human in control, and you need to curate what you really want out of the technology, how you present it to the client, and what is the right time to present it to the client is the most important thing. We are suffering, I think my colleagues will have a similar opinion, suffering that we design a project now backwards. The first image looks fantastic, and now you try to make that happen. And that used to be the last part. You start designing with a totally different process, and now that image is at the front, and you need to be very careful, because if there is not a solid process to arrive to that, then you cannot deliver a good project.
Okay, well, thank you for introducing AI. We will come back to that very shortly, because I think the conversation, even since we discussed it, 1-2 years ago, the conversation has constantly moved on. So we will definitely come back to that. Billy, what do you find most compelling in retail innovation at present? In an era increasingly shaped by global design, why is it important that we have artisan, local craftsmanship to create a meaningful environment?
I think it's like, as I mentioned earlier, it's about the locality, and also people feel relationship with the buildings or the retail, basically. And so we have a lot of projects. We work closer with local artists, or like even some of the project, like the London in London, we work with like a local ceramic artist for the entire building. So which is
it's clad in those tiles externally,
yes,
isn't it?
It's
very
beautiful.
Yeah, look it up, the Londoner Hotel.
And then so we work with a lot of local artists or sculptors together throughout the design and creative process, and really bring us a lot of like stimulation. And I think that's really the merit of an architecture. So I think those when you work with the creative people, you kind of cook up something very interesting. an artisan. We recycling brick, we recycling timber. We look at driftwood to work with the driftwood we can explore in the locally and bring it into some sort of interior. I think those is the process I find it really amazing. You feel really attached to the project and the people and your client and of course their audience.
And it brings it to life, doesn't it? It gives
Absolutely.
people something to focus on, to talk about. No, great stuff. Thank you so much. Nithita, your team's work in Bangkok, as I mentioned in the introduction, is also informed by an in-depth understanding of local architecture here in Thailand. Learning from nature, protecting from the extreme climate. It's been pretty warm for the last couple of days, fairly humid. So why is that so central to your work? Why is it important that these traditional aspects, as Billy's touched on, are incorporated?
Yeah. So we believe in the that the cultures and also the climate will be reflect and bring the character of the architectures, and also that would make the local people feel it will suitable for the local people as well. Like, for example, in Thai, as you mentioned, that it's quite warm, right? But actually, it's very hot.
It's very warm if you come from the UK.
Yeah, like for example, in Thailand, it's very hot and humid, and also when it rains, it's rain a lot and heavily in rainy season. So that's why Thai architectures, like we normally raise up the floor to prevent to protect people like from the flood and animals, or even like the roof that need to have like overhang roof to be a shading for people inside and also protect them from the rain. So, and I think, and also like just give you an example, one thing, and also like the high ceiling that will allow the hot air like to like come out easily. So when people live in the building, they feel comfortable even outside is so hot. So that's why we think that it's so important, and that is the way we live with nature and with the climate before. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. David, let's talk about facade innovation. The idea of the facade as a living system rather than just a static skin. Can you tell us about your approach at Lead 8?
Yeah, of course. For example, one of our projects, 11 Skies in Hong Kong, next to the Hong Kong airport, the timing institute is done by Aedas, by the way. So we are connected in the way that it's not only the image of Hong Kong, but also there is a building, entertainment, commercial building sitting next to it, connecting to Zhuhai and the Greater Bay Area. So talking about the facade, we've been thinking for a long time how we can resolve a 1.2 kilometer facade within the budget. So eventually we come up with the idea of a paper plane module. So when you look close, it's actually related to the aviation. So the module would not only fit perfectly onto the whole facade, but also it transforms into intelligent, the glazing, and also all the technical aspect can be hiding behind, can be incorporated behind the facade as well. So that's something we call it innovation as well to our facade design. But also I want to respond to something Billy was saying. Of
course, yes.
Because we worked on the project in Nanjing, Marquis. We were doing the architecture, you guys doing the interior. That project is a very humble project, but it's actually the facade, everything is responding to the whole city fabric, the ancient city. So what I'm saying is the respect to the culture is something we believe, apart from innovation, that's something we should keep as an architect. That's what I want to say. It's a good project, though.
Appreciate that. Billy, let's talk about technology then, about Superspace and data-driven ideas. Tell us about Superspace. What does it bring towards Bagot and for your clients? Just give us a brief introduction to it.
Sure. So it's an internal system, like a data-driven circulation system we develop in-house. So globally, so we have a team in Sydney. We acquired it like code writer, data analysis. So they're able to help us to kind of creating like the most important is like the circulation for a lot of retail or like big project, or we're doing aviation or hospital. So, and also workplaces basically. So we have the whole team talk about, analyze the circulation efficiency, because I would talk on TOD, you know, how people flow in the airport, the speed, where people contain, where people spread out. So we developed that system able to help us to overlay, is the background working? And then of course we can have the overlay or the aesthetic on top. So that's what we call the superspace kind of data circulation system we developed.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Rafael, let's talk more about AI. You touched on it earlier. Am I right in thinking that there's a task force at Aedas that's focusing on AI, and you're actually heading that up yourself? What can you tell us about what that's looking at and what considerations you're taking at the moment in terms of AI?
Yes, you're right. We have that task force in the office, and it's a super interesting time to be living in. This revolution is only comparable to recently the coming of the internet. It was a question mark for a lot of people at the time. How is internet going to pan out? Now we all know how internet works, and AI is now that question mark. Everybody's saying a lot of different things. People are afraid that AI is going to take our jobs. I think there is a common phrase that says that AI will not replace people, but people that use AI will replace other people. And I think that is valid. It's a tool. At this moment, it's just a tool, like we had CAD, like we had other type of tools that allows us to do better design. AI should be that allows us to reach places that we cannot reach manually, using the power of computing to create multiple options, to study different opportunities, and it's very agile. So we're very excited about it. We're still figuring out the landscape moves constantly. The AI that was the most powerful and efficient 2 weeks ago now is obsolete, and somebody else comes. So it's very dynamic, and we are trying to be on top of things. Is a big challenge.
What are the clients saying to you in your experience about AI at the moment? What are they? Are they sort of suspicious that it's it's doing everything? You know.
Well, that is what I was alluding earlier. You have to have the right moment to present AI to a client. Obviously, you cannot hide it. You cannot be trying to trick people that you are doing certain things while you're not. So you need to be very open about it and say, okay, we are using AI at this moment to achieve this. There's a goal, and the goal has to be very clear and part of the process. I think that's the only way of using AI in a professional manner.
And ultimately, because it's time saving, it could actually be cost saving as well.
It is time saving to some extent, but it also can go into a rabbit hole very easily.
Yeah.
One of the challenges at the moment is controlling the output. So I think we all have experienced that. You click, you get a fantastic image, and then you say, okay, but I want to change something very little. And the way AI works start changing a lot of other things. So you start clicking and clicking and clicking. Next thing you know, time has passed, and you didn't really save any time. But you explore multiple options, and that is what I think is very valid. If I ask some of my team members to do an option, one person is going to take 1, 2, 3 days, depending on things. With AI, you can do it in minutes. So what is good about it is that sparks conversations and say, hey, I didn't think about this before. Can we look into that? Can we explore this idea that right now doesn't work at all, but it came from an AI image, and let's explore it. I think it's valid, and you have humans to take care of that and make it part of the process.
All right, well, thank you for being so open and sharing that with us. It is appreciated. David, what's the position at Lead 8? Are you in a similar position where it's becoming a workhorse, a tool?
AI, yeah? Okay. Personally, I'm still a human person. at this point. But actually, Rafael is right. We are using AI to generating a lot of ideas. We're not against the idea of using computer to help us to get some inspiration. But at this point in our office, even though a lot of AI's references hanging around and we are using them, but we still believe the collaboration with human is the most important thing. Just like on this stage, we are proud to say we have worked with every single
We're
office
having robots
in here.
next year.
So it's something we believe we should keep doing until one day AI can do something really we cannot do. But ask me next year. I might have different question
All right,
answer.
we'll come back. We'll come back. Billy, in all this, consistency is key. So as a global practice, how do you ensure that everyone is on the same page, that these teams are working at the same level, that using the same principles and implementing these tools in the same way?
So AI kind of came into our life probably like 2 or 3 years ago. And so we're really aware of it. So we're also very careful as well. So as a global practice, like 1,000 people, we actually form a AI kind of like a pioneer team, actually led by our CEO. And we make sure we are using AI correctly, like a guiding, like governance AI program we created based in LA. And so each of our studio, we got 18 studios. Each of our studio have an apprentice. We call AI apprentice. We send to LA, station for a month. A year is a little bit too long. So like stationed there for a month. And then we did learn and work with the AI team together, like to understand how the best way we leverage the smart of AI, but how you also have the human brain on top of it. So they will be the apprentice, and then after the month, they will go back to each of the studio and be the ambassador. So we want this program to make sure we have a consistency output, and it's more like how we should use it in the process in the right time. I think that's something we really aware of and want to make sure the consistency on how everyone from senior, even principal, we need to join that course, and then to our Virginia newbie as well.
All right, well, thank you for sharing that. Nithita, there is an impression that there is becoming a disconnect between what the students who are coming into the profession are learning in university and then what they're actually experiencing in practice. Now, I'm not saying it's a global disconnect. So you're here in Thailand. What do you think personally is the situation here in Thailand versus the reality of the professional practice? Are students being prepared well enough for this rising technology?
Yeah, for me, I feel like I think this is the continuous learning process between the education and to the practice. It's like when we talk about the education, architecture educations, they tend to learn more about explore about the idea, explorations and expression, in individual expression, which is I think is all essentials. While the practice might be quite different context, like in the way it need to more respond and more cooperate with the like many discipline, with the constraint of the real world, like for example requirement from the client, like pressures and like cost and budgets, of course. So I think I see that as the learning curve, that is the learning process from the architectural education to the practice.
Okay, yeah. Well, thank you for that. Rafael, are you concerned that there is a disconnect between architectural education and professional practice? You've worked in lots of different locations, obviously.
Yes, I feel that there is that disconnect. Real practice involves way many more things than what students are being taught in schools. We see that there is a big emphasis in aesthetics and in only the visual aspect of architecture in schools, but as we're talking about technology, how to have a long process being part of the project is something that is not taught in universities very clearly. So I think there is a disconnect. We have people joining the firm as fresh graduates, and they struggle. And real life is very different than what they have been educated, and we're suffering a little bit from that.
Okay, well, thank you for that. Billy, obviously, if we are recognizing there's a disconnect, we need to do something about it. So what are you doing to ensure that your new graduate joiners are coming in and they're then rapidly being prepared for the technological, commercial and collaborative realities they'll encounter?
I think we're still telling our new joiner, like, don't get too overexcited about AI, because at the moment you step into our firm, actually you're not able to keep using the AI. We track everyone in the firm, how much AI you use, basically. So you look at how much tokens you use, and we check why you keep using it, and then we will have the AI team to swarm over to understand how you use it. Is the way you use it right? There's a little bit, consistency that we try to maintain. But at the same time, we encourage the newcomer to be, having a dialogue with the artist, so thinking that way. That cannot be done by AI. So we have to have that kind of moments, creative ideas, collaboration. So I think for us, like, new ideas are welcome, but experience are welcome too. And so how we have the, technology, technical experience, and also encourage them. You need to be more like an all-rounder. You're not just you don't want the newbie come in and then 2 years later they just be a visualizer because they have the AI. You need to know deeper about what the meaning of the architecture, how to put the architecture together, and then of course, meaningful to a locality and things like that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. I want to talk briefly about innovation in construction materials. And to do that, we're sort of going backwards to go forwards, if you like. Let's talk about timber in construction. Nithita, Thailand, of course, has a very long history of timber construction. And I know that in some of your projects, you're trying to reincorporate that element. Tell us about, for example, the Forestiers Clubhouse project, a beautiful, beautiful project.
Thank you.
With very striking timber construction.
Yeah. When you said about that project, I still excited.
It is stunning. It's called the Forestiers Clubhouse, and there's a sinuous roof line to it.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
It was very, very challenging at that time. It's already 4 years ago. I think at that time, the client come to us and then say that they want the iconic building with they want the space that flexible for all event through the year, which can be anything, and the space need to be flexible for the all generation, from kid to very active to the elderly that very passive. So we thought about that. Okay, let's do something that column free, so the space could be anything because it doesn't have any column. And then client want us to propose the materials. So we said, and also they come us with they want a symbol of the sustainable. So we gave them definitely timber, which is the material that's more sustained. And the second is the steel, which is them in the country, they're quite familiar with, and also the concrete. So in the beginning, there was kind of scare of the timber. Even we know about timber a lot, but not about the mass timber. It might know worldwide, but not in Thai. So at that time, we gave them 3 proposal, and then at the end, because they want the building that very sustained, so the final is the timber, mass timber. And then that's just the one thing. But later on, we need to think about how we could build it, because with the technology that we have, innovation that we have, we need to talk a lot, discuss a lot with the specialists in Thai and also in our main office, in London, that how to make it work, because it has 58 gulam beam to do construct together without the column. So how we could make it in Thai and in Thailand and make it work. So I think the key is we need to give them the understandable and the give knowledge that to make them comfortable with this material as we used to comfortable with this material before. And then I think, and another key is we work together and give them like a lot of like idea that, and at the end we make it. Yeah.
Okay, well, it definitely is a success story, so thank you for sharing it with us. Rafael, what do you think, given its sustainability, what do you think is holding timber back in this region? Because it's not being used that widely, is it?
Yeah, I think the key aspect of this is that there is a time and a place for everything, and you cannot just use timber for the sake of using timber. So you need to find the right product, the right project to use it for the right reason, and make sure that is used in a comprehensive way for the location you're doing it. A good architectural project cannot be replicated in a different location, and this is precisely one of the reasons. If you try to do a timber building in a place that shouldn't be done a timber building, you are forcing things. So here in Asia, obviously the humidity, obviously there's a lot of factors that are tricky to develop with timber. There is obviously scale as well. Small structures, houses, all that is very easy to do in timber, and that's how it was done historically through many, many years. But right now, trying to do high rises or buildings beyond certain scale in timber is a technological challenge, and I think should be viewed very carefully as to when and why are you doing those things. So I think it will evolve. Eventually we'll get a little more on that because of the sustainability efforts around the world, but I don't think should be taken lightly. I think it's a process.
Okay, couple of closing thoughts then. Thank you so much for that so far. David, I want to go back to the Lead 8 team and the fact that the way that you embrace innovation is to say everyone is a designer. So what does that mean? How can we adapt that in our offices and our studios?
Our office is formatted in the way that everyone has a say. There is no top-down memo, that kind of a methodology. So basically, all the creation is coming from everyone. For example, the 11 Skies, the paper plane ideas, it's actually coming from an assistant. So we thought that's a good idea. So what I'm saying is the most important aspect in our office is to collaborate with everyone. There is no bad ideas, just ideas.
Okay, fantastic. Billy, I suppose in a way you're taking this one step further because you're bringing the clients in and collaborating with them as well. So tell us a little bit about these creative workshops that you run.
Yeah, sure. So you mentioned everyone is an everyone is a designer, right? So to some extent, client is also a designer, to some extent, if you understand what I mean. So, but we like to involve client. Just with my background, before my 20 years in Bagot, I was working in Ogilvy Mather, a branding and advertising agency, running and facilitating workshop. So I think involving client in the thinking process is very important, getting alignments, and we as a creative people, we stimulate and kind of push them to be innovative. So we have the duty as well. I think that's the beautiful part about project and engagement each time. So you're really unlocking it, including the client side, think of something they haven't really think about. I think that's the thing. Everything kind of communication and engagement is the most important thing. So hopefully next year in the IPA, your panelists won't be all robots.
I was joking. Don't be silly. Of course they won't.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for sharing that, and hopefully it can be replicated elsewhere, because I think it's a really inspirational project. Rafael, finally to you, a bit of a large question for you, putting you on the spot here. Which emerging innovation, technology or material, do you believe, we're going to hold you to this, so no pressure.
No pressure.
Will have the greatest impact in the coming years? I mean, we've talked about AI. Do you think that's the one, or is there something else down the line?
Yes, I think AI will change the landscape, not only of architecture, but many, many other professions. Right now, we're at the beginning. Nobody knows, as I said before, how is that going to pan out, and exactly how is AI going to change humanity, but it will. Right now, all we have is these large language models that are used in different ways, and it's just a prediction of the next word, and that is also used in creating images. So all you see right now is iterations of things that already exist, and AI is kind of compiling them and creating something that we feel is amazing, is new, is innovating, but in reality it's not. So that's what I was saying before, is kind of skin deep. It lacks depth. And I think that will change. There is a huge amount of money being invested worldwide in data centers and in creating new technologies and advancing the AI. So I think it's going to move really fast, and I have no idea where it's going to go. So crystal ball, happy to, if you hold me by my word, I think it's AI, but I have no idea in what shape or form that will be implemented.
All right, watch this space. We'll continue the conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, let's say thank you to the panel. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now we've got a couple of minutes if anyone does have any questions. So I'm not going to hold you to it. If nobody has a question, that's fine. But if somebody does have a question, also fine. So raise your hand if you have a question. I don't think anyone does.
We need to ask AI.
Let's have a vote then. Can I put your...
We need to ask AI.
Let's ask the AI,
I think this
if only we had the robot.
I think so.
Okay, let's just have a show of hands then. As long as you don't mind.
There's a question there.
Okay, question over there at the back. Thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Vikrant. I come from India, and we are trying to incorporate AI into our work culture. So the main problem that we foresee is the adaptation by the architects, the interior designers. So how did you guys, manage to get that involved into your work culture?
So it's the gentleman. Sorry, we couldn't hear you terribly well. So I'm going to try and relay that back. Tell me if I get it wrong. Mm-hmm. How are you? Are you a developer, sir?
So we are an architect.
Yeah, architect.
Yes.
And you're having problems ensuring that everyone else is up to speed with the AI. Is that the
Absolutely. So the adaptation of AI into the daily work culture is one of the major problems that we are foreseeing. So people are, not willing to accept that. So how do we make them to understand that this is the way forward? This is improve your work.
And this is among the team, your fellow
Absolutely,
team members. So
yeah.
yes, is there a pushback from some of your teams against the use of AI? Do you feel at all?
Well, in our office, when we first starting the AI, is hesitation, reluctant, and all that kind. But I would say, just keep trying and trying until one day you will just suddenly get it right. AI is just like a new friend. You just have to spend time to make this friend to become your best friend one day. So that's I can say.
And I think, Billy, your idea of these super users is a good one.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, I think absolutely agree with David. I think AI just one with your new friend. So in architecture solution, we're facing a lot of other problems. So AI is just like fixing or like kind of doing something on one of the aspects. I think for us, we're actually more focusing on, the material cost increase, labor cost increase, and so we look at modularity, how we can build offsite and move it. So I mean, things like that actually is a bigger thing. So I think AI is good. We have the conversation, but I think it's just, I would say it's like 20% of what we.
Do you find that everyone is embracing it? Are there? You don't have to name them. We wouldn't expect you to. But are there team members who are very much against the use of AI, or is everyone
we don't. I think we embrace it, but I think we just need to use it properly and use it correctly, and make sure we don't kind of lose focus on other important things. Yeah.
I think we don't have pushback. I haven't heard in our case anybody not trying to use AI. Obviously, certain people are more keen to use it because they see more application to their daily work, and that we encourage that a lot. As you were saying, we also try to give the AI tool as much people as we can in the firm, but we also try to make sure that is profitable, that the time used on that is really making sense. So we also have like the token police, making sure that certain people are using AI in the right way and not just clicking, and we call it the slot machine effect. And so I insist in to answer the gentleman's question. I think is a tool, and we are treating that just as another team member that is super productive, can do 100 options in very little time, but at the same moment is a very dumb team member, because you tell him to do something and he will not do anything different, only what you tell him. And then is the question of how to control it, and that at this moment, that is the $1 million question, how to control the output of AI.
All right, wonderful. Thank you, sir, for your question. Okay, we've got time for one more very brief question, and then we must move on. Yep. Can we get a microphone to the gentleman on the end there? It's coming. It's on its way.
Hi, good morning. This is Nawaz Hussain. I am from India. I'm a developer. I have a different kind of a challenge where we are coming up with a 38-storied building. And I was not able to explain this to the architect what exactly I wanted. So what we did was we attempted to do a building which exactly what we wanted, and we showed it to the architects. And now they are actually surprised how we made this. Okay, this was completely by AI, but we had to do several rounds of iterations before we could achieve. I wish I could show this on a bigger screen, but I have it unfortunately on the phone. It is a completely a total futuristic building which we were able to achieve. So I don't know how this is going to go forward.
And is this the first time that you've used this method?
We are only a developer company,
yes,
and we are not at all an architectural firm.
Okay.
But we were not able to explain this completely to the architect,
yes,
without the help of the AI.
Okay, super, lovely. It's a bit like, excuse me, bringing this mundane lifestyle activity into the conversation. Bit like when you go to the hairdressers or the barbers and you say, I want it like this, and they're not quite sure. But when you show them a picture, then they understand. So are you finding this, that the client, the developers have got AI as well? It's not just you. And they're coming now with kind of formed ideas. But you guys still need to be there, because otherwise the building might fall down without the architects. That's the problem, isn't it?
Does it really work? You have a fantastic image that is very compelling, that is very convincing. You think the project is finished, but that was just the beginning of the beginning of the beginning.
Yeah.
You still need to go through the entire process, and even if you want to keep that as the end result, you will be surprised of how the process will lead you in different directions. Once you start coordinating and making sure that the idea is being able to be realized, lots of things are going to change. And that's why at this moment we architects as humans can think ahead of the problem, and when we present an option to you is because we know it's feasible, we can make it work.
Yeah.
Right now what you have there could or could not be buildable.
And as the developer, you don't know how much your beautiful picture is going to cost, and I bet that's important to you. All right, thank you so very much. Ladies and gentlemen, please thank our panelists, David Yu, Rafael Acosta, Nithita Fongtanakit, and Billy Ip. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Well done.